So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been in the news a lot recently. A lot of it having to do with her Green New Deal. First of all, I'm not crazy about the name Green New Deal. I really would have thought they could have come up with a better name than that. Especially when you consider that it's, she's a Democrat and they're usually pretty on point when it comes to coming up with names for the bills that they put forward. But she's been getting a lot of negative coverage. I've seen a lot of pundits saying things like she's clueless and stupid for coming out with such a proposal. And I have a bit of an issue with that. First being, I think it's unnecessarily unkind. I wouldn't use the word stupid for her plan. I would say it's ignorant. I think a certain amount of ignorance can be excused. She's a first-time congresswoman. She doesn't really have any political experience. She saw an opportunity to mount a primary challenge in a vulnerable district, and she did her legwork and she won. And so this is a totally new field for her. She didn't even study political science. She studied economics apparently, and she was working as a bartender. She's quite young, 29 years old. So I think that she deserves some amount of time to settle into her role before we start critiquing her too strongly. I have more problems with the other Congress people and senators in the Democrat Party that do have the kind of experience that she lacks and really have a responsibility to kind of take her under their wing and not coddle her and not pander to her, but rather to give her guidance and show her the ropes and let her understand what is really involved with creating legislation, and legislation that can actually pass both houses of Congress and can actually have the desired effect. I'm more upset with them that rather than taking her under their wing and straightening her out and putting her on a path to actually be able to make a worthwhile and valuable contribution, if she can, that they're making excuses for her just because she's a fellow Democrat. I heard it described, I'm not sure, I think it may have been Nancy Pelosi who described the Green New Deal as being aspirational. But in truth, it's not aspirational. It's impossible. It's just a pie in the sky type of pipe dream. She's talking about things such as, well, of course, the big thing is the elimination of using fossil fuels within 12 years, which is impossible. It, of course, the 12-year period is based on this alarmist view that in the next 12 years, if we're still using fossil fuels, the changes to the climate will be irreversible, which is nonsense. Basically, they claim that if we're not all fossil fuels in 12 years, the consequences to Earth's future will be irreversible. It's pretty much nonsense. And we've seen this kind of alarmist rhetoric before from the 1970s when they were worried about global warming, and then fast forward to Al Gore with his movie An Inconvenient Truth, and every single time these doomsday predictions about how there's going to be a tipping point and then it's going to be irreversible, it's just been proved out to be nonsense time and time again. And this 12 years, it's more of the same. And it doesn't help that the type of changes that she would want to see made cannot possibly be made within 12 years anyway. And even if it were possible, you've got to realize that the kinds of negative consequences, including human suffering and death, that would result from such a rapid abandonment of fossil fuels would probably be worse than the suffering and death that would result from climate change, even if the 12-year irreversible prediction was to bear out. I mean, you start monkeying with people's sources of energy, people are going to starve, people are going to freeze, people are going to die. It's just ridiculous. She's also talking about the elimination of airplane travel in favor of high-speed rail, and clearly that's not something that could possibly be undertaken within 12 years. Just thinking about the amount of time that it would take to lay railway tracks, create the supporting infrastructure, get the trains in place, work out the routes, get the companies that are going to be running. I mean, this is not a 12-year project, clearly, even if you could make the argument that it would be a more efficient, more fuel efficient way of transporting the public. And are we talking, I mean, when you compare the time that it would take to travel by train as opposed to plane, I mean, is she talking about some new high-speed rail technology? Is she talking about the Hyperloop concept like what Elon Musk put forward? Or is she talking about, type of Shinkansen high-speed trains like what they have in Japan and China? That remains to be seen. But clearly we're not talking about a 12-year time frame for that sort of thing to be done, even if everybody was to agree that it was necessary. So I think it really would serve us better if the leadership in the Democrat Party was to rein her in a bit, and because they're not doing her any favors by not doing that, and they're not doing their party any favors by allowing such extreme sounding proposals to be put forward under their banner. I don't know if it's because they feel that she has the youth behind her and they're wanting to court those votes, and so don't want to risk alienating them by coming against her strongly, or I don't know if they feel that those ideas resonate with the youth, and so they need to kind of put up a front and at least pay lip service to them. I don't know what their strategy is, but it's just really nonsensical, and I wish it would stop. In any case, this is her first term. It remains to be seen whether she'll be able to make any meaningful contribution, and we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, she may end up just being a one-term congresswoman and then that's the end of it. So maybe she'll learn. Maybe she'll listen to the valid criticisms that are coming forward. Maybe she'll be able to actually contribute some worthwhile ideas. Maybe she'll be able to rein herself in a bit and start dealing with ideas which fall within the realm of possibility and actually make a valuable contribution. So I guess we will see going forward.